I'm Alex Howard.
And I'm Amanda Silver, and this is Dirty Laundry.
We are here to talk about divorce.
Ooh,
I know.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
So I had someone reach out to me,
yeah.
and this has prompted today's theme,
Okay, tell us.
which is, what the heck am I doing after I've made the decision? So it's funny because I've had recently a friend of mine going through some marital troubles, and they reached out and they were like, okay, so, what do I do? Should I just call a lawyer? Can you recommend one?
Do I go to court?
And I was like, dude, have you learned nothing from me?
Hello.
Don't. The first step does not have to be hire a lawyer. So today you and I are going to go through kind of a back to basics, step by step.
Yeah.
Divorce 101, kind of from start to finish. What are the actual steps that people need to be taking?
Yeah.
So kick it off. What do you think?
My first thing is take a minute. I feel like a lot of these decisions that are made post-separation are made emotionally. They're reactive.
Yeah.
They're made in haste. And people feel that they have to rush to the finish line to get that divorce. And I'm like, wait a second. Take a minute. Everyone processes things differently.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of emotions happening. Maybe you've told the kids. Maybe you haven't told the kids. Maybe you're living together. Maybe the one person's left the house. So much is going on. Maybe you've told your family. Maybe you haven't told your family. All these things that you have to deal with. You don't need to make huge decisions just yet. So take a minute. Okay. Give yourself that.
Yeah.
And if the other person's rushing you and putting pressure on you, often I'll have coaching clients come to me. Oh, he's telling me we got to put the house up for sale and pushing me into making a long-term parenting plan, pushing me to make a financial decision. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
There's a process. You do not need to make any of those decisions just yet.
Do you find it is the person who has ultimately made the decision, unless it was completely unanimous? There's typically one person who decides. Is it them that's rushing? Typically, do you see? Or is the person who, could it be anyone?
Yeah.
Some people, I guess my question is it a personality trait? Or is it that the person who's decided is further along the emotional journey?
I think it's the latter. I think it's the person who's further along, who's like already made the choice to end the marriage.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
Right.
If there's been one person who's like, I'm ready. I've moved on. I need to get this done. And then the other person's like, wait a second.
I need a minute.
Yeah.
But don't you find too, because the idea of when you're in a relationship, there's usually a sort of yin and yang situation. There's somebody who kind of is more, let's say, administrative, handling all of the
A and type B.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think so here's a question.
Yeah.
Is the type A person more likely to make the decision to separate than the type B? Is the type B
is it cart before the horse situation?
Is the type B going to be like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
We'll see how things go. I'm not rushing to leave the marriage. And the type A is like, I got to leave the marriage. I got to get this done. I got to sell the house. I got to move on.
Like kind of a chicken and egg.
Yeah, our type A is more likely to end a marriage than type B's. Let us know.
I know. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards yes, but
I think so.
I'm excited for some feedback, some audience participation. Okay, so step 1, take a beat.
Don't fall into the pressure. Don't cave to the pressure of making a decision if you're not ready.
Love it.
There's a difference between taking a minute and obviously intentionally delaying, which is not good either.
No, don't drag your heels.
And that can come back to bite you later on. But take a minute.
Yeah. And then I think step 2 then is do a bit of research.
Yes.
Right? So do you have people in your circle that are trusted, that you can confide in, that are going to give you the right advice, right? So you don't want to be confiding in, your pal so-and-so and either A, they're happily married, or, they've got a cousin who lives in the States and had a completely different, divorce experience. And now they're the people that are advising you. So make sure if you are getting advice, it is from trusted, sound, potentially even well-informed professionals.
Because everyone can give you advice.
Well, the thing is, I worry about costs initially. So there is, I think, in terms of step 2, the informational gathering, I'm hesitant to be go Google all these things because that's very, very poor choice.
You're going to Google, you're going to find a million different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with doing a bit of research on your own, right? Whether you have, again, a trusted, maybe mom blog, a divorce podcast, for example, people that are putting proper information out there.
Right.
And then formulating questions to eventually ask your trusted and hired professional So do some research, do some recon, try and kind of figure out what feels right.
Yeah.
I'm a very feeling person, as you know. So I know you're going to come back and go, okay, but here's also the logistical steps one needs to take. But, as we're going to get through all of these steps, one of them is kind of deciding what process you want to take. And so that's where I say, like, what does your gut tell you in terms of what feels right for your family in terms of how you have previously been operating? Right. And so if, I don't know, I guess if hiring lawyers and going that way feels like it's appropriate for your family and your situation, great.
Yeah.
But there are alternatives. And so in that information gathering, it's like also figure out what kind of process you want and what kind of supports you need, and then start to research who is the, kind of best fit for your family. And so in terms of like the professionals, right, gathering your team is part of that step 2 research.
Right.
Which is what kind of, I guess, experience do I want to have with all this? What kind of professionals do I think I need to be, supporting me through all of this?
Also, how adversarial do you want this to be?
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it
Great
too.
question.
Because listen, these things can escalate. Conflict can escalate. You can always escalate the process to lawyers, to court applications, to all those things that can happen.
Yeah.
But it's hard to go back from that. If you right out of the gate start off with hiring, the shark, the litigator, adversarial, go in guns blazing, it's very hard to be like, and now we're going to try into mediation and negotiation and all. It is very difficult.
It's
not impossible, but I would say difficult and like maybe a waste of money.
Definitely a waste of money.
Right?
Definitely.
So think about that going into it before you pull the trigger and hire that adversarial lawyer who is going to go below the belt. Take a step and think about that process and what you want at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because so many people are so focused on the here and the now. They feel betrayed.
Right.
They feel whether or not there was abuse or there was all of these behaviors and conduct that happened, and they want to get back, or they want to have their voice heard, and all of these things that have happened.
Yeah.
And they lose sight of where's the end goal?
What's the goal?
Like, what's the end goal here?
Yeah.
If your end goal is to have a very, litigious, high conflict relationship where you don't have a really good relationship with your co-parent, there's a process for that.
There is.
If your end goal is to be able to have a meal together and go to each other's, special events and still maintain yourself as a family unit, there's a process for that. And those are not the same process.
No. And it's not a one size fits all. It really is about customizing, your process, your experience based on what is appropriate for your current sort of situation and relationship.
And some people get thrown into a process that they never wanted. So one person might be like, you know what? I want to go to the collaborative law approach, or I want to go the mediation approach where I keep the conflict down. We have to stay out of court, whatever.
Yeah.
But then the other person might have hired a shark lawyer who's already putting in a court application. And then what? Then you don't really have a choice but to meet them where they're at.
You have to show up for court.
And that's difficult. Yeah,
it can be.
So
in that sort of informational gathering situation, who are you surrounding yourself with? Do you need a coach to help you navigate that? Do you need to hire an equal, let's say, of equal caliber lawyer to, go up against this very aggressive shark style one?
Maybe have both of them in your back pocket. So maybe in doing your research, look at, okay, who are, the top litigators in your area, in your, that you're comfortable with, whatever. Have that sort of in your back pocket, and then look at, okay, who are the top mediators that you might know or connect with, so that you can sort of have both ready.
Yeah, and it is a relationship with who you hire and who you build your team out, right? Like, these people are working so intimately with you. You are exposing all of your finances, all of your parenting, all of your everything. Like, we are getting into all of it. So make sure you trust this person. Make sure you like them. I know that sounds silly. You're hiring this person for their expertise, but let me tell you, you're developing a relationship with these professionals.
Yeah.
It helps if you like them, right?
Yeah.
It helps if you've got a rapport and a vibe and a trust.
Yeah.
I think that's really crucial. But part of the information gathering as well is also maybe starting to gather your own documents, putting your own bits and bobs in place. So, we talk a lot about the date of separation.
Mhm.
I want to highlight this for folks because some people arrive in my office and have no idea what this is, and it can be very contentious. But essentially, when we are evaluating all of your property, your what we call net family property, right? Like all of your assets, all of your liabilities, the goalposts that are used in family law are date of marriage and date of separation. So that date of separation is very, very important because that's essentially when your valuation period ends.
Yeah.
So for example, you decide, okay, September 1st is my date, and then on September 3rd you win the lottery. That date is pretty important.
Very important.
Right?
Yes, it is. And
or if you decide it's September 1st and on September 2nd you drain your savings, your joint savings, and take a trip to Vegas and that's now your debt entirely.
right, personal debt versus joint debt. So there's a lot of reasons why date of separation is important.
It's very important.
And sometimes they come into my office and they don't, like you said, they don't know, and I help them figure out what the date is. And there's different markers. Maybe it was. Sometimes it's a big blow up, right? Sometimes it's someone moved out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
Someone left the house. There was a text. There was there's different ways that we can sort of value that.
Yeah.
But it is important to start measuring against that date.
Yeah.
And keeping track.
Exactly.
Of everything.
Exactly. So gathering financial documents that are important. Yes. Well, and you say documentation. I think I would really like to also highlight our incredible episode with Miriam, who was talking about a timeline. So again, we talk about different processes for different types of families. If there is abuse, if there is coercive control, right? All of the things that we're definitely, sort of having its 15 minutes of fame right now, which I'm very happy about.
More than 15 minutes. It needs a lot. But it is definitely coming.
So listen to that episode if you are considering divorce or have already decided and there has been some sort of abuse happening. The timeline, according to Miriam, is really, really important. And I think that is something that I hadn't heard before.
A timeline.
But love.
And not just your timeline from your separation date, but go back.
Go
back. Beginning of the relationship. Because with coercive control, with abuse, the patterns are going to be there.
Exactly.
Right? They're going to show up. Abuse doesn't just start. If it is there is post-separation abuse. But if it's a long-standing pattern of abuse, then it would have shown up during the marriage.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And it's different than post-separation abuse that shows up post-separation.
Exactly.
Different.
Yeah.
Both serious, but just different. So if it is a long-standing pattern of abuse, it should be documented with a timeline.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time we talk about tough divorce cases, I think about how many people just don't even know where to start.
It can be overwhelming. People call me saying, I don't even know how to begin negotiating parenting time, support, or the house.
Yes, and that's exactly why your clients love you over at Forest Hill Mediation. You make it simple, approachable, and actually manageable.
Thank you. We really try and help families figure out solutions without the chaos. It's about communication, clarity, and avoiding court whenever possible.
And honestly, listeners, Amanda makes it feel way less scary. Like you can take a deep breath and actually handle the process.
Thank you, Alex. If you're going through separation or divorce, check out foresthillmediation.com. We'll help you get through it with your sanity intact.
Okay, so then process. Step 3? Are we on 3?
Yeah, so number 1 was... Hold on.
Take a beat.
Number 1 was take a beat,
don't
rush.
You even took one. Number 1 was?
Number 1 was take a beat.
Intentional or otherwise, but I loved it.
So cringy.
Oh my God. Our children are going to be mortified.
Oh my God. They will be so embarrassed.
Okay, step 1, take a minute.
Take a minute. Don't rush anything.
Yeah.
Number 2, gather the right information from the right people and the right sources.
Yes.
And start documenting things yourself.
Yeah.
Keep a timeline.
Yeah.
Keep track of expenses.
Yeah.
Keep track of parenting issues.
Yeah.
Step 3 is actually which process you start.
So there's, I think, basically 4 kind of categories, if you will. I mean, okay, let's even say 5. Because if you two can sit down and what we call a kitchen table agreement and hash out the major issues and then just get, either a lawyer or someone to paper it for you, spectacular. That is very, very amicable clients only.
Yes.
Because you do not want to put yourself into any sort of precarious situation, either safety or just agreeing to a very shit deal because you're misinformed or uninformed, let's even say.
I'm hesitant to, people
Yes,
do it all the
people
time,
do
kitchen
it.
table agreements, but
Yep.
there's a time and a place.
There is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. There is a time and place. There's no children.
Yeah.
They either maybe own a matrimonial home, which they're going to split 50-50, or they don't.
Okay, they're renting.
Right? They're renting.
Something easy.
Yeah, something.
Short marriage.
Exactly. A short-term marriage.
Or they're not married at all.
Or common law. Sure, but then that gets into a whole other myriad of issues. But yeah, so no kids, very little to no property to divide. Maybe they've had separate finances and they really don't care.
They've always had separate finances.
They've kept things separately. They're both investing in their own RRSPs,
Similar
for
net
example.
worth.
Yeah, they make about the same amount of money,
incomes.
right? So there's no spousal support,
not
no
dependent
child
on the
support.
other financially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, it can be done.
And they have the ability to self-advocate and to communicate the decisions with their other person.
There isn't a power imbalance.
Exactly.
There's not levels of control.
Yeah.
So if they meet all those criteria,
yes, then the kitchen table is where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think just, the close cousin to the kitchen table is mediation. So you are able to self-advocate. You can show up. You can, communicate with your other person. Maybe there's conflict, but we can work through it. Nothing is insurmountable. But you do still want to have a professional.
Yes.
So mediation is voluntary. So both parties need to be on board. And so, as you said earlier, your anecdote where one person has already gone out and hired a lawyer and they've already put forth a court motion. Mediation is maybe off the table, but maybe not. Maybe they just don't know.
And sometimes it takes, so I've seen it where sometimes it takes that court application to actually get someone to the mediation table because they think, misguided, they think that they have to go to court.
Right.
That's just what they need to do.
Yeah.
And then they get there and the judge will say, have you done mediation yet? Or the lawyers have a duty to say, at least say to them, try mediation. So they're gonna come back.
Yes.
And they come back.
Yes.
Like, wait a second, we need to try this first.
Yeah.
We really don't have much to lose before we ask the court to intervene. So sometimes it does, they end up coming back anyways.
Yeah.
But
fair.
So save yourself the trouble of going to a case conference or some type of hearing in front of a judge and having them tell you to come back to mediation.
Exactly.
Just start with mediation.
And remembering, I always say, because there is absolutely a time and place for court, just remember it's public record.
It is.
Right?
It's
so you may
record.
want to have your day in court and you may want that vindication or validation or whatever you want, but understand that your colleagues and neighbors and children can look up any of those public documents. So something to consider.
Yes.
Okay, collaborative law. Tell us about that.
Collaborative law is great because you're hiring a team of lawyers. You each have your own. Legally, you have to have your own lawyer that represents you. But they work in collaboration and you sign an agreement that says you will not go to court.
Yes.
Signing on to this type of process. Yeah. And if you do decide, I want to take this to court, you have to get new lawyers.
Yeah, this is the key.
So I like that because it really, because I think that threat that people hold over each other, which I see all the time. I'm just going to go to court. I'm just going to go to court. I'm like, you say this, but you don't know what it's like.
No idea.
I'm like, okay, go. You're going to see what it's like.
Go, and I'll see you again in 3 years.
I'll see you back here after you spent so much money. Like, they don't, and so
it's an empty threat.
That empty threat can really do damage, right? To negotiation.
To the relationship.
And yes, exactly.
Yes.
So if you know that you're going to a process like collaborative law where you are not going to court, it kind of takes the pressure off, I think.
Can I also say that I love that the lawyers are sort of disincentivized, because they will give up this file if it goes to court.
Do not
so
litigate.
There's a little bit of accountability for the lawyers as well to keep it out of the courtroom.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
They are motivated to work, literally, it's in the name, collaboratively with the other lawyer.
And you save money, generally, because you usually use, instead of 2 financial experts, you use one because they're both vetted, you trust them, whatever. I mean, the one person is vetted by both.
Right.
So you do end up saving money, I think, in collaborative versus like traditional lawyer-to-lawyer negotiation.
Agreed.
Which is the next one.
Continue.
Lawyer-to-lawyer negotiation.
Last resort.
The lawyer-to-lawyer negotiation has been done it's sort of the way it's been done traditionally.
Yeah.
But it's expensive and it's adversarial and it takes time as well.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for it.
Yep.
I think when people aren't being forthcoming,
Yeah.
when there are serious safety concerns sometimes, and you just can't get anywhere with negotiations, sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
But it's not always the be all and end all
No.
either. You also have to be able to afford it. It's expensive. So every letter that goes out is expensive.
Yeah.
And then the next step obviously is court,
Then you end up
which
in court.
is
The most expensive.
I would say
and
the
most time consuming.
especially if you're going with a lawyer, if you're going represented to court. Listen, there's a lot of people who go self-rep to court.
So let's talk about this for a second. Because court does not mean here's my shark lawyer and I'm going to court.
No, because some people go self-rep. And a lot of
Exactly.
people do. They do go self-rep because they can't afford a lawyer, or they can't.
And they don't qualify for legal aid, which is
they
so
don't
frustrating.
qualify for legal aid. So like they're going self-rep, which kind of puts them at a disservice, I think, especially if the other person has a lawyer.
Right.
So the other person has prepared, and then they're going self-rep. They don't know the law. They don't know the process. It can be a little bit of, it can be a lot of a power imbalance.
Huge power imbalance.
And it's so intimidating. And, to have to be able to understand all of that language. It's a totally different language. It's not ideal.
It is not ideal.
It's not ideal.
It is not ideal. And I think for those self-rep folks that are out there are certain like benchmarks or periods where you really ought to have legal representation. So it may be worthwhile to do some of that work leading up to those moments on your own. If you can, if you have the capacity to do so. And then bring in somebody to advocate on your behalf. For those really key sort of pinnacle moments, because it's not to be taken lightly. These are decisions that are being made for you, right, by a judge ultimately, about your children, about your finances and your future. Oof.
Yeah.
It's not to be taken lightly.
No. So those are the different processes that you can choose from. And the thing is with this process is that you don't have to just choose one and stay with it. You can people go and they go into one, they come out of one, they go into the other. And of course, it's going to cost money to go from process to process, but it's possible.
Yes. And sometimes it could actually save you money. Right? If you're in a legal battle in the court and you didn't even realize that's how you got there. And it's like, well, hang on just a minute. Let's rewind this tape and let's go try and actually negotiate this.
Or let's just delay. We're not going to pull out our, I have had clients who they have court applications in. They don't necessarily pull out their application. They're still in the system. They still have the opportunity to go to a judge if they want it, but they're just going to put it on ice for a little bit while they at least try to resolve one or some or all of those issues in mediation.
And that's a really good point because it can take so long, because your court dates can be so far in the future. While you're waiting,
try it out.
Give it a go.
Yes.
You never know. Again, if it's appropriate, but you just never know what could happen. Okay, step 4, I think, is the actual agreement itself. What does that look like? What are we talking about here?
Well, usually it's a 4-parter. Right? If you're married, if you've got kids, it's usually 4 parts to this agreement. Parenting, child support, spousal support, property. Those are sort of the 4 parts that we deal with that make up a fulsome separation agreement. So we always start with parenting because they inform the other.
Right.
So parenting time right now until we change things. Until we change things. We're coming for you. Legislation.
Lawyer
law,
people. Those law folks.
Family Law Act. Coming for you. Until we change things, parenting time and child support are intertwined. So we have to figure that out first before we can do the calculations. And then spousal support is dependent also on child support. And then property.
Often intertwined with property.
And then often intertwined with property. So they're all kind of they weave into the other.
Yes. It's 4 parts, 3 of which are financial.
Yeah.
But again, all very much kind of snowballing one from the other.
Yeah. And for some people, they want a very brief parenting plan. They're very amicable. They don't need the details. But I'm finding for most of my clients, even the most amicable, they like a very detailed parenting plan. Because
quite frankly, I do.
So do I. I'm like, you got to put this in. I'm like, let's talk about family day weekend and let's talk about Thanksgiving and how that's going to work, because then you don't need to come back to me.
Yeah, please don't. My goal is for them to never have to see me again.
Yeah, I want to send them off on their merry way and hope for the best. Hope for the best and have them have a positive experience going forward. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, the details.
Yeah. So understanding too that regardless of the process you choose, you have entitlements to see the other person's full financial portfolio. So you're opening up the kimono. You are seeing it all. That is your legal right.
Yes. No matter which process you choose.
No matter what you do.
You have that right.
So if they're hiding things or you're thinking you don't have visibility because you've had separate finances your whole marriage, no big deal. Just understand that is your right.
I've had clients say to me who are married, they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm like, do you have access to all the financial information?" "Oh, yeah. I have all the access to my accounts or our joint accounts." I'm like, "Okay."
And
I'm like, "What about his accounts or her accounts?"
Yeah.
"Oh, no, that's in their name." I'm like, "Oh, no."
Exactly.
If you're married and you don't have a marriage contract that says what's his is his and mine is hers, if everything that is theirs is also yours. So if their name is on it, you have a right to see it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter if, that account was in their name, this account's in your name, everything has to be disclosed.
Yeah.
And then you could talk about what's excluded and why.
Sure.
There's reasons for things being excluded.
Yes.
But everything needs to be disclosed.
And that's why I like the negotiation of mediation or collaborative laws, because you actually can kind of cherry pick what you want to do, as long as you both agree.
If you don't want to touch each other's pension or RSPs and deal with all that, great. If you want to agree on what the buyout number is for the house without having to put it to market and all that stuff, great.
Yes.
Go for it.
Go forth and be merry. Okay. And then independent legal advice, same thing. So if you're choosing a modality that is not with lawyers, understanding it is also your right to have some legal advice. And we encourage this. As mediators, I'm always encouraging because we work for both parties. And most importantly, we're not lawyers and we're not giving you legal advice. So maybe go get some.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe ensure that separation agreement is not just legal in terms of the language and that it's, obviously within the confines of family law, but also that it's covering your butt.
Yeah.
That it's also in your best interest. I mean, we talk a lot about the best interest of the children. And I do always say, here I am really advocating for the kids.
Right.
But ultimately, you need to make sure that someone is looking at it just through your lens.
Even if it's just, hiring someone for a couple hours of limited.
It's worth it.
It's worth it because then you know that, it's not going to be opened up.
Yeah.
Less likely to be opened up in the future.
Yeah.
You know that you've done, a reasonable job and that you've negotiated for yourself,
exactly.
in a good way and that it's all good.
And
so
it's all fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Legit.
Otherwise, I mean, again, lots of people don't want ILA,
and you're also allowed to waive it.
That's your choice.
It is your prerogative.
But we always recommend it.
And then for step 5, I want to remind people that you don't have to file your separation agreement with the courts and get a legal divorce. That is the very traditional, way to go.
Divorce, yeah.
But you don't have to. And so I have some clients, and even though here in Canada we have our universal health care and that's wonderful and thank goodness for it, some folks with their careers, with their jobs, they have additional health benefits.
Yeah.
And they maybe want to keep their ex on.
Yeah.
Once you file for a legal divorce, you cannot. So it's something to be mindful of. If you have a good relationship, if you want to maintain, a really sort of healthy relationship with your ex, and maybe they have a lot of prescription needs or, whatever it is.
Right.
And you can help offset some of that cost. Why not? It's in the best interest of children, again, circling back to that they have 2 healthy, happy parents.
Yeah.
So is there a way around it? If you filed for divorce, you are 100% legally divorced, which means you can remarry.
Yeah.
But otherwise, your separation agreement is legally binding once it's signed and witnessed.
The only add-on to that I'll say that I've seen, and you can fact check this, is that my understanding is that if you're on the hook for paying spousal support, that you can, even though you're divorced, if you're obligated to pay someone spousal support, you can keep them on your benefits because you are supporting them. And so I think there's
that's a really
way
good point
to handle that.
Yeah.
But that also would involve bringing in, I think, a lawyer to make sure that that's all. Yeah. But I think there is a way to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought that one through. Yeah. Great point.
Yeah.
But again, this is appropriate for those where there is still trust. There is still, a healthy, solid relationship.
Some people actually just want to divide everything.
Yeah.
They don't want their names on anything joint. They want to split everything because they want to move on, whether that be for a new relationship or just emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
Exactly. So you file your paperwork if you choose to. Only lawyers can. Lawyers can file it, or the clients themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So mediators, we do not do any filing of any sort.
Nope.
So just know that as well. And then it goes in front of a judge as an uncontested divorce, and bing, bang, boom. That's it.
I saw one get declined recently.
Ooh, tell me.
I've never seen it before.
Me neither.
So clients came to me. I hadn't worked with them, and they said, yeah, we had filed for divorce, but the judge declined it.
Interesting.
And I said, oh, well, what was in your paperwork? What did you file?
Yeah.
I'm like, did you have a parenting schedule? We had an informal one. I'm like, okay. Did you have child support? No.
Well, there's
I'm
one.
like,
yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding. And that is the key, because even if parents are making the same amount of money and they have shared parenting time, so there's no real money going back and forth for child support, we still need to capture that in the agreement.
It's got to be some,
there needs to be some language.
Child's right.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, well, no wonder you got declined.
Yeah.
So I've never seen it before. I've only heard about, that. So it happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So you're divorced. Now what? I think we need to talk a little bit about what comes next.
What comes next?
Right?
Yeah.
Co-parenting, if you've got kids, that's ongoing.
Yeah.
Testing out your parenting plan, figuring it out. Is it working? Is it not working? Okay, a year has gone by.
Yeah.
And now you're doing an annual review.
There you go. And just because you're signed, sealed, and delivered and you're done doesn't mean that you don't still need some support.
Yes.
Because there are always going to be things that come up.
Yeah.
There's always going to be disputes that come up. They could be small, they could be big, but have somebody that you both can trust, whether it be the mediator that did your agreement or some other third party that you can call in those times so it doesn't escalate.
Yeah. Yeah, because your annual review, you are looking at child support. Did your incomes go up, go down? Who knows? You need to recalculate. And also, how's the parenting plan going?
Right. It's not just the calculation
of
the money, which can be done very simply on your own. But also, how's it going?
I think it's really important because I don't think people know that. I think most people understand, okay, cool. My child support is based on my income. So if my income changes, I got to recalculate.
Right.
That seems like fairly evident.
Right.
However, what happens as your kids grow? We always talk about like the agreement being flexible and designed to change with the various ages and stages of your children. And so maybe they're younger and your current parenting plan is a 4 and a 3.
Yeah.
And now, they're older. They're ready to go 7 and 7.
Right.
Great. You need to have that conversation. You need to agree, of course, to any changes.
Yeah.
And then you need to capture that information. It's really important.
I think it's like dangerous to set parenting schedules in stone.
Yes.
Because then you're stuck, especially if you are more high conflict.
Yeah.
Right? So it's hard to sort of balance the two because it's maybe if you are more high conflict, it took so much to get to that parenting schedule.
Fair.
Right? So it's like
and you don't want to have to revisit
it and then renegotiate
every
everything.
year.
But depending on the kids' ages,
Yes.
not every year. But depending on the kids' ages, there should be some type of review period for the parenting schedule.
Agreed.
In your agreement.
Agreed. And so for those that are high conflict, we say, no, not every year. Okay, well, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
So technically an annual review is annual. It's yearly. Well, maybe that's not appropriate for your situation. So maybe you're hitting milestones.
Yeah.
When the kids go to high school, it's going to change.
Right.
Or when they're out of daycare, it's going to change, right? Like whatever
we're just going to have a discussion or we're going to go back to mediation or we're just going to we're going to involve the children. We're going to ask them. So I've been recently putting in a lot about voice of the child report. So it's like they get to the certain age. Let's say they're young. They're very young now. So the parents are obviously making all the decisions. But then the parents acknowledge that like, okay, as the children age, they're going to have their own voices and we want to hear what they have to say. So if they're 11 years old or 12 years old or 13 years old, whatever the age may be, or even sometimes younger, like 9, they can sometimes do it. We will hear their voice and then have a discussion about it.
Exactly. Okay, so last minute tidbits before we wrap up here. I think people need to know that after you decide to get a divorce, if you move out of the home, for example, because it's no longer a safe space, you're not losing any entitlements to the home. I think that's a big one.
No.
Similarly, if you need to, again, move out, you're not losing access to the children, right? You can still come up with a parenting plan that gives you all that. So it's important to know that you do have to protect yourself and safety is paramount as you go through this because, we've already alluded to post-separation abuse. It's not ideal. So take care of yourself and make sure you're in the right frame of mind and physically safe as well. Other people ask me, I'm like trying to think about, things that clients ask me all the time. Can we use one lawyer?
No.
That's a hard no. You can both waive rights. One can have a lawyer and you can not have a lawyer. But you cannot use the same one for independent legal advice.
No, you cannot. They won't do it.
Yeah.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
Do I have to sell the house right away? No.
Definitely not.
Like I said, take a beat.
Yeah.
Do not make those decisions yet.
I have some clients who are like, we're going to sell the house after the kids move to university or have moved out.
There you go.
Then, so it's a deferred sale. We put that language in. No biggie.
Right.
It's really important to understand this is your life, your family, your finances, your children.
Mm-hmm.
You should make the decisions for them.
Yeah.
So yes, trust but verify. Somebody's telling you, can you do this? Great. If you're unsure, go get some advice. Talk to a lawyer, fine.
Yeah.
But understand that there is a lot of power that you hold. And I want to empower these people to go out and make the best deal for their family. Because ultimately you are still a family if you have children.
You are.
Sorry, you're stuck.
Sorry.
Sorry or not sorry. I don't know however you want to look at it. And always, as always, you can write us. You can call in.
We're happy to jump on a call.
So happy.
If you want some coaching or mediation, give us a call. Yeah.
Awesome.
This episode was written and created by Alex Howard and Amanda Silver. Produced, edited, and engineered by RTF Productions. Make sure to rate and review our show if you loved it, and give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast to stay up to date on all upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening, and go easy on us. We're not your ex.